We are suspending campaign operations. This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not.
The establishment left's favorite progressive golden boy has officially crashed and burned. Graham Platner has finally suspended his Maine Senate campaign after horrific sexual assault allegations went public. The desperate attempt by national Democrats to run cover for this walking disaster has completely imploded, and CNN's Scott Jennings just ruthlessly exposed their pathetic double standards on live television. Before we watch the DNC's handpicked candidate go down in flames, smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe right now. Let's get right into it.
We are suspending campaign operations. This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power. And I also feel an immense amount of responsibility to everyone who has worked so hard to get us to where we are.
Platner had been under immense pressure to drop out as his initial support crumbled. We're told behind the scenes Platner worked with staffers to navigate that exit. Maine's Democratic Party says it's approved a plan to hold a nominating convention to replace Platner, and several candidates are already jockeying to try to fill that spot. Brad Palumbo joins us at the table. Several candidates hitting the airwaves tonight. They've already declared. But what do you make of how Graham Platner exited and how long it took him to do
I just got my little violin out for him. You got to feel so bad. He's playing the victim. It was really probably AIPAC that made him get a Nazi tattoo, lie about it for years. It was probably AIPAC that made him allegedly physically abuse a Republican woman he used today. And it was probably AIPAC or the establishment or something that made this latest accusation. I think he's disgraceful. I genuinely think that's one of the worst, I don't even know, announcement videos I've ever seen. No accountability, no reflection, just a weird combination of backing away, but also denying the allegation, not even standing on business. This whole thing is such a black eye for the Democratic Party writ large, though. It's not just him. They're doing the right thing eventually. But where was this energy when Lindsay Fifield came forward? Yes, she's a Republican operative. Doesn't mean she couldn't be a victim. She had contemporaneous corroboration that Graham Platner, that she said at the time, physically abused her and locked her in a room. That should have been enough for the Believe Women Democrats. Zoran didn't withdraw the endorsement, didn't withdraw support. Bernie didn't. What are we doing here?
Yeah, look, I think that for some Democrats, for sure, it was enough. And that's what the civil war in the party was for a while there. And now the Bernie Sanderses of the world, the Ro Khannas, they have egg on their face, quite literally tonight. Because also there's a lack of contrition, for sure. He denies the allegations. He doesn't even really address the women that have come forward. Actually, I shouldn't say doesn't really. He did not address them in this 11-minute video.
He called them liars, basically,
Yes,
because he said
did.
Everything's false.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. And, while he was being supported through all the things that Brad was talking about, Democrats like Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and on and on and on and on, kept saying that, he's gotten over the rough patch in his life. He's apologized, Ro Khanna. He's on a redemption. He'll bring redemption to our nation. So they were willing to overlook or believe all of his explanations up until now. The only thing that changed is that he's no longer politically viable. His poll numbers went down to the point where it wasn't politically palatable to say that this redemption tour was going to be good for America anymore. I think you're right. He's never actually taken accountability for any of these things. The Democrats knew 98% of the things we knew about Graham Platner, we knew before the Democrats voted in the primary in Maine, and they still voted for him.
98% is a lot. Look, there were lots of Democrats who had some concerns. I definitely got yelled at for my concerns. So I want to be clear about that. I have to say, I'm not going to accept lectures from people who support Donald Trump, who was credibly accused by 13 women of sexual assault, for listening to women, okay? Other people can talk about this, but people who stand up for Trump every day as he's faced those assaults on any side should not be throwing egg at the Democratic Party. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that some people were willing to look past some of these things. But the Democratic Party has done something different than the Republican Party, which is they have, let me finish.
Sure.
They are finally acting against a candidate who was credibly accused. He's not found guilty, but credibly accused of assault. And That is very different than what has happened under Donald Trump's presidency and the Republican Party.
I was just going to ask, honestly, Scott, Peter, maybe you can answer this. As an independent, I really feel like everyone's abandoned any pretense of character in politics, but I do agree Republicans have been particularly egregious at that. And when we have this serious corroborated allegation against Graham Platner, but you have dozens of accusations against Donald Trump, one of them was litigated, you have a court finding against him, isn't that significant more weight behind accusations against Donald Trump than there even is against Graham Platner? How can one be disqualifying but not both?
Well, I mean, the president would say there isn't serious corroboration on these accusations against him.
There was a judgment.
That's what he would
there was a
argue.
judgment by a jury, a federal jury.
Yeah, and the person who accused him couldn't even remember when it happened.
Well,
Okay,
So,
that's
I mean,
up to the
that's
jury.
the argument. That's the argument.
That's
they would
the
make.
jury.
The sheer cowardice on display from these establishment liberals is honestly breathtaking. For years, they've lectured the entire country with their hollow, believe all women slogans. But the second one of their preferred progressive darlings gets accused of a horrific assault, they suddenly scramble to find excuses. They knew all about Platner's massive red flags, his creepy internet history, and his bizarre behavior before the primary, but they intentionally cleared the field anyway because they were desperate to win. Now that it has blown up in their faces, their immediate playbook is to play dumb, deflect, and desperately scream about Donald Trump. Nobody is buying this garbage anymore. Since the Bill Clinton era, the left has slowly phased out caring about basic character or personal integrity, treating standards as a weapon to use against conservatives while letting their own off the hook. The corrupt media ran cover for Platner's rugged, working-class persona for months, only throwing him under the bus when he became an active public relations liability. It is a sickening double standard, and the voters of Maine see right through the gaslighting. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to keep the truth moving. Let me know in the comments if you are sick of the absolute hypocrisy. See y'all in the next one.